I want beautiful canals, romantic gondola ride, and it would also be lovely to be serenaded.
When your girlfriend wants to go to Venice, but you bring her to Iraqi swamps instead. Friends, I'm Joe, and the last 8 years of my life, I've spent traveling all around the world. As you can probably imagine, in such long time, I've seen many interesting places. And one of such is definitely Venice. You know, the floating city in Italy. Probably the most famous bridge here in Venice. And you can see on the other side it's just full of people taking pictures. But honestly, I wasn't a huge fan. Yet here's the thing. Every time I tell this story, my girlfriend Liisu wants to be involved.
Remember when you went to Venice? I think you traveled it in a completely wrong way when you went there alone.
And on more than one occasion, she has hinted that we should go there together so that we could really experience the magic of this place. Because after all,
it is the city of love.
Well, I'm sure that after being asked so many times, a normal boyfriend would have already given in and taken his girl to Venice, even though he doesn't like the place. Yet after reading the title of this video, I'm sure you understand that there is nothing normal about me. I'm a homeless dude who lives in his yellow van and calls making YouTube videos his job. Now that I said it out loud, I'm actually wondering why Liisu's parents even approve of me as her boyfriend. But I guess it's not too smart asking those questions out loud. Hey guys. Anyways, to finally settle the debate, I asked Liisu, what is it that you actually want to see in Venice? And her answer was quite predictable.
Canals, gondolas, and just one song in Italian.
And when I followed with, but what if we could have all of those things in a different place? Her reply was all I needed.
Yeah, sure, whatever.
And this brings us to today's adventure. Or, well, almost. I should probably tell you that it isn't my first time trying to settle this Venice topic once and for all. The last time I tried it was a bit more than a year ago. It was our anniversary, and the plan was to take Liisu to the so-called Turkish city of love. Turks themselves even call it the Venice of Turkey. I warmed her up by taking us to the closest thing this city has to a Disneyland. The fairy tale castle was followed by many local dishes. And once I felt that the mood was set, it was time to make the move. That's probably one of the reasons why it is called Venice of Turkey. We hired a gondola for a romantic ride. And without a doubt, it was lovely.
You get all those nice memories that you can reminisce years after.
But I made one fatal mistake. There was just no way I could find an Italian guy to serenade us in the middle of Turkey. After this failed attempt, I lost hope for quite a while. I even started adapting to the idea that I might have to go back to Venice one more time. But well, this time hope really came from a least expected place. About 10 kilometers that way is Iraqi border. You see, while planning our current adventure in the Middle East, I realized that in southern Iraq, there's a place I have never even imagined. It's a region where two famous rivers meet. This is Tigris. That one over there is Euphrates. And this is the point where two magnificent rivers meet. And they have created a giant wetland, an intricate system of natural canals. Yep, you heard correctly. Iraq is far from just being a barren desert. And one thing for sure, this time I had the element of surprise on my side. We have made it to a very special and unique part of Iraq. And if you ask locals, many say that this region here is the most beautiful in the whole country. First off, we needed to find a boatman. Well, that turned out to be much easier than expected. there was literally dozens of locals fighting for the few tourists who end up in this part of the world. Salam alaikum. After the initial greetings, Yusuf?
Ali.
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 Nice to meet you, Ali. Please. We made sure to agree on the price first. Around here, it's just common knowledge to do it beforehand to avoid bad surprises. Okay? I freaking hate this. Absolutely hate this. Yeah, sometimes it still does not work. And then it was time to go. I'm not sure if he was reading my mind, but Ali knew exactly how to set a romantic mood. And his few carpets and pillows made all the difference. And we have a liftoff.
Welcome to the marshes.
First 15 minutes flew by fast. We got used to the cold breeze. And as we were still quite close to the village, it was a perfect opportunity to admire the architecture. I know, the buildings here might not be as tall and luxurious as they are in Venice, but in some ways, they were even more fascinating. Because all the houses here are built out of reeds. They use the plants to build their houses, shelters. It's pretty cool. Ali made a stop near one of the houses, which happened to be his. Everything is out of reeds. From his body language, I understood that he also has a house in a village. But as in Islamic cultures, the woman is in charge of the household. He uses this one here as his man cave. You know, a place where he cooks fish and drinks tea with the boys. When we directed our boat deeper into the marshes, the landscape changed drastically. The canals grew smaller and the highway noise transformed into sounds of nature. We heard fish splashing around our boat and many birds using the high reeds as their watchtowers. It's a bird watcher's paradise. Mostly with different types of kingfisher and an occasional eagle flying in a distance. But as I looked at Liisu's face, it was obvious that the magic of this place was slowly creeping up on her. I guess it's just unavoidable that as we grow older, bird watching just sneaks up on all of us. And before we even notice, a random brown bird on a branch has suddenly turned into the magnificent Basra reed warbler. Yet there was also an animal here that we did not expect to see. Water buffaloes were everywhere. They were so common here that Ali even had a special call for them. Every time we passed them, he greeted them with this haunting melody. It is thought that the buffalo used to roam wildly in these marshes for a millennia. Yet today, they are all domesticated. And together with tourism and fishing, these guys were fishing with electricity. They serve as pretty much the only source of income for many indigenous locals. Well, becoming a real estate developer on a muddy marshland where only grass houses can be built just isn't a very profitable career option. Yet, even though many of the modern-day comforts have not found their way here, the locals themselves didn't seem to be bothered by that. Everyone we met on this journey seemed friendly.
How are you? Where are you from?
Good. Estonia.
Australia.
Estonia, yeah. They waved at us, and some even tried to ask us for lunch and tea.
Oh, what's up? Come here, have lunch.
We felt conflicted saying no, but still decided to put our own well-being first. It's very tempting, but for the last 3 days we've had stomach problems, so for our own health and safety we had to decline. It just isn't fun traveling in a caravan when you have to stop in each gas station to awkwardly use their facilities, which, by the way, don't even have a pot or paper in this part of the world. Once we reached the more wild part of the marshes, Ali suddenly turned off the engine And I'm not sure if he was again reading my mind or it was just a common practice of his. But like magic, he turned into a boatman from Venice. He pushed the gondola with a wooden stick and even serenaded us. Yes, maybe showing us dead fish wasn't quite as romantic as he thought. But well, cultural differences, I guess. We drifted through some magical landscapes in total solitude. Again, a very, very interesting landscape, just like towers of the reeds. And sure, it was quite strange when he jumped off the boat and started making cat noises in the bush. That's our captain in the bushes. Whoa! But even this had a purpose. You see, he was preparing a snack for us. It's quite interesting how Iraqis use this plant for both eating and building houses.
It's a little bit sweet, but it's very, very crunchy. It's actually good.
Reeds store their nutrition in the roots, so that's why there's probably a little bit of taste there, and that's why the locals eat it as well. It's nutritious. On a way back, I was trusted with the captain's stick, and it was much more challenging than I thought.
Apparently we are trusting Joe now with the navigation of the boat and the steering. It's a bit wobbly, I must say. What's with the wobbliness?
But while in control, I seized the moment to finally check the last of the 3 requirements.
Try to keep steady, love.
Oh, sole mio, malisan sola, et velia tua, whose might se hurt. Oh, sole mio. Yeah, being honest, only half of the song was in Italian, and I actually learned it from a TV commercial as a kid. But at this point, it didn't even matter. We felt happy. This adventure had been much more than we ever hoped for. And I guess it was time to ask the most important question. I know it's not quite Venice, but what do you think of our little adventure today?
I think the journey has been even more eventful than we would have had in Italy. So thank you for arranging all of this.
Are you disappointed a little bit as well? It's not as romantic maybe than you thought?
Oh, it's very romantic. There's a guy singing to us. We're alone in the nature. I think it's very romantic.
You heard that, guys. When your girlfriend wants to go to Venice, bring them to Iraq instead. So what do you guys think? Should I now be celebrating that the Venice argument is finally settled? Well, I'm not so sure about it. In the last 2 years that we've been traveling together, both of us have changed a fair bit. Liisu has definitely showed me that some travel destinations are simply made for couples. And maybe Venice just happens to be one of them.
Very fresh.
But when it comes to her, Liisu's travel style has also changed a lot. It has been a long time since she last chose places to visit by what she saw on Instagram. And to best demonstrate it, our next journey to a city that was for 3 years ruled by terrorists was solely her decision. Every wall of every building is just full of bullet holes. Hundreds and thousands of them.
We've never seen anything like it. And it's so sad.
Thank you for watching. And we hope to see you back on the channel next Thursday. Bye.